Okay, good morning, Nicole.
Good morning, Douglas. How are you doing?
Not bad at all. As you know, I've got this platform, Change Your Money Story. And I've been doing a lot of broadcasting on that, kind of motivational broadcasting.
Okay.
Occasionally, I'll do videos of myself. And mostly I did that when I'm walking my dog in the mornings.
I have a dog as well.
Yes, because my ideas come when I'm in the shower or when I'm walking in the morning. That's when I become very in tune with nature, because you know where we live, there's a lot of greenery around, and you can have that. And I really love that. So I do all these broadcasts and for people who are on the platform, and there's over 200 people.
Oh wow!
Everyone on the platform has got a business, has got a career, and you know we have a financial arrangement with them, either as the accountants, tax advisors, their mortgage brokers, or we raise funding for them. So there's quite a number of people on there who are pretty high-end guys or ladies and entrepreneurs as well. So what we're trying to do, or what we do on this platform, is we're encouraging people to focus, you know, because there's a lot of WhatsApp groups out there with dog chasing cat and cat chasing a lizard and all that. And, you know, yes, it's nice, it's funny, it's entertaining, but sometimes you ought to be serious. And we're very serious with the platform. We don't allow people to post political things.
Yes.
Like Ukraine, Russia. We don't allow you to bash us with your Christianity or your religious beliefs or your Islamic beliefs. We don't do that. You keep that at home and you come to this platform. This platform is just property, business, entrepreneurship, and career development so that we can help each other.
That's perfect.
With that said, if you can just tell us about who you are, and what you've been doing, and then we'll go into your project.
Yeah, of course. So I'm Nicole, and I have started my business probably just under 2 years now. And it's really an organic, a little bit like you, a little bit like most people, you know, when COVID hit, it was a real, you know, good time to kind of sit and reflect on what the next steps are. People had, you know, working from home for the first time. I was fortunate that I was working, but, you know, there's still, you know, a lot of headspace to kind of really think, something that never happened before. And one of the things I started asking myself, well, what, you know, what's my long-term goal? You know, I've been working in project management. I just finished a contract with American Express, and I wanted to understand what my long-term
at the time,
at the time.
Yeah.
And I always was drawn to television. I had spent 6 years working at ITV, and I was always drawn to television. And I'm looking at the success of formats. So formats such as Love Island, formats such as X Factor, Britain's Got Talent, The Voice. And when I started looking at those formats, I started thinking, well, they don't really have this for the Caribbean market and the African market. And I started kind of you know, really digging into the deep, how could I do this? How could I bring it to life? So I went back to ITV, so a couple of people that I knew there, and really started to understand how production works, how formats work, and it's really a license thing.
So at the time you didn't have any experience in production and all that?
I didn't have any experience at production. I'd been around production, so I knew what it took to make a show, but I didn't really understand the business aspect in terms of bringing it. Who do you sell it to? How does it get sold? Who commissions you? How does it all work? So I spent the last, you know, year and a bit researching that, making a lot of contacts in the Caribbean, mainly in terms of broadcasters, to understand how we can get content on their platform. And working with ITV to look at some franchise, you know, license opportunities as well. So so there's where it all kind of started for me. And then what progressed was to do something small first before I went into. So,
Hmm.
for example, my long term is to do a franchise of Love Island. But before I
Yeah.
get there, I wanted to start off with a smaller show. Originally, I was looking at Bake Off, and we were talking with the BBC, but I wanted to get even a little bit more smaller than that. So I came up with my own concept, a concept that involved all the islands in the
Yeah.
Caribbean. Well, as many as I can get, because there's quite a few.
Yeah.
And it was it's a cooking project, and really based on a lot of the reality shows that we see now, you know, following that format, a competition featuring judges. But the difference, or the USP, was the fact that it was an inter-Caribbean show. And
I see. Sorry to catch you. This is your own original concept. This
correct.
is not a franchise. Now, talk to me about the franchise, because you said you approached BBC and ITV, looking at Love Island and a few other concepts.
Correct.
What happened? Did you not get the license, or did you not get the
No,
franchise agreed?
so I have the license agreement for Love Island. That's we've obtained that. My company's obtained the rights to produce that in the Caribbean.
Is that exclusive to your
That's
company?
exclusive to my company.
Okay.
And what we have with Bake Off is not exclusive rights, but they call it exploratory rights. So at the moment, it's with us for 2 years to explore whether or not we can broadcast. Once we make the decision to broadcast, we then will move on to the exclusive rights. But for Love Island, I have a full contract and a full license agreement for Love Island Caribbean.
Okay, so we move on to your concept.
Yes.
Now, talk me through how you conceptualized it. How did the idea come about? And you know, you say you did a research. What did your research show? And who did you think was going to be the partakers or the consumers of your show?
So the research took me to the fact that there wasn't, it was two elements. There wasn't anything made for the Caribbean, featuring Caribbean. So I wanted to do a show that had that concept. That was something what I floated to broadcasters. So for example, in Jamaica, the broadcasters called TVJ, they're like ITV, they're the biggest broadcaster there. And they were really, you know, very keen on a concept that featured other islands, inter-Caribbean. And the same with the other broadcasters I spoke to, such as Flow TV, etc. Now, one aspect of the Caribbean is cooking. There's many aspects of the Caribbean, but
they love their food. Yes.
They love their food, and loving how what the USP there was is that addition Jamaica, it could be, you know, the same. We call callaloo, for example.
Yeah.
It's different how they do it in Jamaica. It's different how they do it in Trinidad. It's different how they do it in Grenada. And another aspect is vegan food. Now, we're moving a lot more. You know, people are very much interested in vegan options and vegan dishes, and people think vegan is just vegetables and rice or something like that, and it's so much more. And so bringing all that together, I came up with this concept that will showcase the inter-Caribbean. It will showcase the food, which people love to watch and get ideas from, and it will showcase a niche market, which is vegan, which is getting bigger and bigger as people become more and more conscious of what they eat.
All right, so the business concept is I'm going to roll out a show that is akin to Love Island in the UK or something like that, but this is about food.
Yes.
Now, let's go to the business aspect of it. Who are your market? Who are your market? Is it the people, the population in the Caribbean, or are you looking at, or were you at the time thinking of all, you know, Black people within the diaspora, America, Canada, the UK, Europe, Caribbean, Africa? What was the whole idea? Who do you think were going to be your your marketplace?
So 2 target markets. So the way I'm going to do this show is we have a broadcaster in the Caribbean that operate across 15 islands. So the first target audience will be the Caribbean market and people watching in the Caribbean. It's with Flow TV, who is a subscriber, a paid subscriber, and it will be targeted towards that, and also bringing out the natural competition aspect that people in the Caribbean like. Then once the show is packaged episode wise, then I take it out of the Caribbean into distributed markets, such as, to your point, Europe, UK, Africa, and of course, America, focusing on the communities that live in these areas, but still have a very close affinity to the Caribbean. Yeah. And so, obviously I'm originally from Trinidad. I live here in the UK, very, like most of Black people in the UK, we're still very strongly connected to where we originally are from. And so to be able to see that, and the distributors I work with do have access to Netflix, but they also have access to BBC, and we'll be able to kind of distribute that content to this market where outside of the Caribbean. So the show is featuring the Caribbean, but also for those outside of the Caribbean.
That sounds extremely interesting and very original. I like original ideas. It's nice to photocopy. It's easy to photocopy businesses, but people don't often know what it takes for somebody to originate a business and to grow it and to make it successful. They see the success element of it and they think, okay, if he's or she is doing, I can do it. But they get into the middle of it and they realize that, there is more to this business than there is. In this type of business, I haven't done any production. I'm a finance real estate business person, which is interesting because I've got a concept which is akin to the Dragon's Den. Which it's something I'll talk to you about in private, but it's something I have in my mind as well.
Have you watched Shark Tank? Do you know Shark Tank?
Yes, I have watched Shark Tank. It's some of my favorite programs. That's what I
of course it would be.
I binge watch them because of my background. But yeah, in the business element of it, how did you put together your business plan? What was your business plan? Because I like the concept. I like the fact that you were into broadcast and you've conceptualized something originally and you've thought about or researched the market and you know how you're going to roll it out from the Caribbean to the African Black diaspora. But now let's monetize it. Let's put some pounds or dollars or cedis, or what is the currency in Trinidad?
Well, the currency at the moment, so like most businesses, it's a 3 to 5 year plan. Now, with any show, it does take some time to get that initial show off. So all the expenses is front loaded, like most businesses, as I'm sure you know, it's a front loaded thing. But once it's established and we've done it, we are able to then recoup it from the distributed markets. So once the show is packaged, 10 episodes or 11 episodes, and sold to streamers or distributed, that's where that kind of funding is returned. Now, the business plan, again, really kind of focused originally on the Caribbean. So looking at what the broadcasters can pay, but also what sponsors can pay. So the broadcasters, the Caribbean broadcasters aren't like NBC and Fox and ITV and BBC. They don't have that kind of money, but what they have is a platform. And so the money now comes in from utilizing the sponsorship. So we have a model where we, or partnership with sponsors coming on board for the show to cover the kind of initial front loaded expense. And so so the broadcasters pay a nominal amount for us to use their platform, but they have an established platform that we can utilize. And then we have the sponsors who want to, like normal sponsors, promote their service or their shows. We're speaking a lot with now that COVID is kind of you know, easing up a lot. A lot of these places, they want to promote tourism again. So we're speaking to a lot of tourist boards, Grenada, St. Lucia, etc. And so the money really is around coming in from the sponsorship to cover that initial cost. But then the business plan really focused on selling this content on. And my research at the beginning kind of indicated a really good figure per episode potential, you know, buyers can get. Obviously you pay a distributor percentage, but you know, the bulk of it is really selling it on wide. And the market and the world that we live in scream for content all the time. You know, Netflix literally put out feelers all the time about content, and what's lacking is really a lot of Caribbean content. Now, the reason why I say Caribbean, because the Black content in America is quite strong. Also Africa, I'm sure you've seen a lot.
They have their own.
They have their own, you know, Nollywood, and a lot of that's being utilized on Netflix. But what's missing is content from the Caribbean. And that was the market that I really wanted to target and enter.
Sounds extremely interesting. And a lot of viewers, you know, we have a global platform. And so a lot of people, you know, entrepreneurs, whether they're in the media or not, or have creative ideas, people in the creative industry will be watching you and thinking, how can I get myself into this? But first of all, you talk about the expenses are front loaded. Okay, if they're front loaded, and it's the sponsors who have to help you foot the expenses in the front end. How did you start your financing, basically, in terms of, did you have a loan before, or did you use your own savings, or did you go to friends and family? Did you raise money from a particular platform, crowdfunding? What did you do to raise an initial seed capital to start the whole production going?
Right. So it's a little bit of both. So I financed a lot of it, you know, myself through my own funding. I did get an investor as well to come in, and I did do one, you know, one of the bounce back loans as well. So all of that, those three streams really, my own money and a private investor, as well as
the government,
assistance as well. So that helped me get this started. And what that meant was I was able to get the talent and the crew out to Dominican Republic and start filming, because with every business, no matter whether it is television, you know, to get people to buy into the idea without seeing it is always very tricky. So I knew that I needed to get some content on board, and we have like a you know, we have lots of content that we've able to get from that. But the most important thing is that people can see the contestants, they can see the judges, they can really visualize the concept that I'm trying to, they can see the branding. So that initial funding at the beginning was really to get me to a place where I am now, where I've got my footage and I've got you know, the concept really visually coming to life.
Wow, sounds very you know, exciting, really. But tell me about the people, because you cannot run a business like this, or even a production like this, without the people. First of all, how did you sell the idea to the very people you're working with? And two, how did you manage to recruit them to get them on board? Where did you find them?
So really, the recruitment part was made easy because people loved the concept, and it really being able to articulate the fact that this is a new concept to the Caribbean, featuring the Caribbean, being able to really exploit the beauty of food and really bring it to life. We've seen so many of these types of competitions for the last 15 years, starting from Big Brother, from here, from Europe, from America, even from Asia, you know, South Korea. But we've never seen it from the Caribbean. We've never seen a reality show like this before. And so that idea alone, you know, as well as the logo, you know, and I'll share that with you. You know, I've got the flags flying into the pot, you know, really kind of encompassing what the Caribbean with the palm trees. It really wasn't a very difficult sell. People love the idea. And I'm not saying it in vanity at all, because I know it's very difficult to sell concepts, and that is why I really wanted to get the talent together. But once I was able to explain that to my talent, so for example, our judges, they were all on board pretty much straight away, our host as well. And then being able to find the contestants, what we did was we had a bit of a campaign where we targeted people who are already influencers on food, already kind of working in the food industry, so we can, you know, utilize them. So for example, one of our contestants is actually Jamaican, he's based in the UK, but he alone has 1 million followers on YouTube, just on his channel.
That's a big one.
And you know, so we really kind of made sure that the people who are participating can also help us grow the show and grow the you know, the ethos of the show, so it lives on. And so our campaign, especially when we go to sponsors, and we you know, they love the concept of the different islands, and they're now thinking to themselves, okay, well, I have a vehicle now where I can promote in Jamaica, in Trinidad, in Guyana, not Guyana, in Grenada. In Grenada.
And Guyana is South
well.
American, but it's soon to be Caribbean.
Yes, and Guyana as well, and Antigua, and all these places I can do product placement. And I've got a contestant here who's now going to be known across these islands because they feature in this vehicle, which is something that wasn't there before.
I see. That's fantastic. So in terms of the progress of the production and the finality of it and distribution, where exactly are you in your progress?
So in my progress, the stage I'm at is really finalizing, getting more sponsors on board, but also I want to, while we work on that, start my editing. So now we've got to take all the footage that we've shot already and now start editing the show into, you know, 48-minute episodes.
Okay, let me just break it down. You talked about sponsors. You're still looking for sponsors as well as the editing bit. In terms of sponsors, who are you targeting? Where are you targeting them from? And what is in it for them?
Right. So the target market is anyone who wants to do service, sell their service or products to the Caribbean across those 15 markets where the show is going to be shown. And so that is the target. And we're starting obviously with local Caribbean companies. We're starting with inter-Caribbean companies, so places like Caribbean Airlines that only operate there. We're looking at franchises that operate there. So like Nestle have a franchise there. There's lots of brands that we know that have regional franchises there that are linked to promotion. We're also looking at companies here in the UK that export into the Caribbean market. So there's a couple food product companies based here that, you know, that export into Jamaica and Trinidad and Barbados, etc. So we're looking at that, and the same with America as well. So anyone who wants to do business across that region, whether they be local, into Caribbean, or completely outside, but focused on that area.
What is the population size we're looking at for the Caribbean alone?
Yeah, so the population size across all those 15 countries that is being broadcasted is 6 million. Total population size. Yeah. It comes up to about 6 million. Now, we're estimating between, in terms of, so we ask what's in it for the sponsors. So at the moment, what we have with going with Flow, we have just under 600,000 people that watch that platform. But we also have a social media campaign with YouTube and all of that, where we are hoping to get between 2 and 3 million subscribers, of course, all the platforms, utilizing the contestants, utilizing the judges, and really doing a promotional campaign. And that's why it's important for us to distribute it outside of the UK as well, because even though, I'm sorry, outside of the Caribbean, because even though the sponsorship in terms of broadcast would only be on Flow, the advertising will still live on through
Yeah.
the social
Yeah.
media, and it will live on not just for the period of the show. We would continuously campaign until the second season.
So how many episodes is it in total? And
um,
how is it going to run?
yeah, so we're looking to start running it from June, 10 episodes.
June of 2022.
June of 2022. So June, and it runs up until August time. So 10-week run. We have a lot of footage. So we're thinking of doing a bit of a bonus episode as well. But we are planning for our campaign to run until December. So utilizing all because you remember we're shooting all day. So, but we're only taking 48 minutes. So we have a lot of 2-3 minute content that we can continuously push until the end of the year.
I see. So how many in total are your team, the photographers, everybody else, and how do you put the logistics together? Because you go to a location, you've got to have to shoot your whatever you have to shoot.
Yeah.
And how do you manage the logistics of it, the funding of it, the accommodation of it? Are you in touch with local tourist lodges and hotels?
Yeah.
So how do you transport companies?
It's a huge production. We were there for 2 weeks. We had about 70 people for the production element of it. And
Wow.
this to your point will range from our production manager to our camera guys. We had like 6 camera guys, the audio guy, the monitor guy.
And they're all local, or they're all coming from the UK
right,
and
so
other places?
most of the crew were local crew. So I worked with the production manager who's based out in Florida. Actually two production managers who are based in Florida, and they organized the crew on the ground and got the equipment on the ground in DR for us to start shooting. And I also have 3 people here that help me with the logistics. So, making sure everybody
here being the UK, yeah?
Yeah, here in the UK. Making sure that everybody is, got what they need, they're booked on the right plane, the accommodation is sorted out, got someone looking at travel. So to put it all initially together was that team on the ground of about 70, just under 70 people. And that's going across the entire thing, from producing to getting the content, the photographer, the hair, the makeup, the people who buy the food, do the set, everything, lighting, camera, action.
Wow. So where are you now? What would make you push for, finalizing the production and then to go marketing, and getting your money come through?
So I think where I am now is that I've shot the footage. I need to now go into an editing process where I need to hire a team of 3 editors, a supervising editor, and also the director's time as well to get us through those 10 episodes, which is probably about a 5 to 6 week period. Then we need to just go and finish the final 2 episodes, which will be a week of shooting. And then by that time, our editing process would have been established so that we could just pull in what we need and quickly edit the final 2 shows. So that's where I am now. So at this juncture, it would be to finish off the editing process so I can get those final 10 episodes. I can give it to Flow to start, their broadcast time, which they're scheduling for June. And I can also start working with the distributors that I have to start selling it in other markets.
I see. So in terms of funding, are you looking to raise more money? Because you are at the stage where you need to really, really push to get it completed.
Correct.
Correct. Are you looking for funding? And if somebody is interested in either they want to be a sponsor or want to be an investor, let's talk about the 2 different categories, for example, for now. An investor, if somebody wants to invest in it, what is the minimum amount that they can invest in? And what would be their return on investment going into the future? What would you want to, how would you impress on me to put my money in it?
Well, the minimum amount I'm looking to raise from an individual investor would be about 10,000.
Ten
And the
thousand
£10,000.
pounds,
Yeah,
which is about $13,000.
exactly, which is about $13,000.
Yeah,
And so
that's the minimum.
that's the minimum that I'll be looking for investment. And the return on that 10,000 would be a 20% return, which I be
Per annum?
looking
Per annum?
per annum if they want to keep it in. Now, the reason why I say that is that this is project based, right? So I'm doing the first project, which is this, and then once it's sold, then the revenue kind of ends at that project. And then if I'm looking to do another project, which I am, would be love. I can have a conversation with the investor at that point if they want to
They want to roll
continue.
it forward, yeah.
Yeah, if they want to continue, and this is the new project that I'm doing, these are the sponsors that are interested in. It's a whole different model. So, for example, I want my next project to be Love Island Caribbean. That's a lot. There's going to be a lot more different from this. It's many more episodes. It runs for 6 weeks. It might be a bit longer in terms of it. So what I'm offering right now is to invest in this aspect of the project to get that return back at the end of September, and once the show has been sold, and then we can have a discussion if you want to keep your money in for another return on the next project.
Have you got a legal team, finance team, legal team that puts all this together for investors?
Yes, so we have an investor pack, and we also, I do have a legal team as well, someone who looks after the kind of contract for me, but I do have an investor pack that kind of, goes through that element of the return, and it being project based. So what we're offering is a 20% return on that, and that's the investor part. Now, if you want to be a sponsor, and we have different packages, those packages are in US. So and they start at 15,000 US, going up to $50,000 US, going up to $35,000 US. Now, the top 35, I'm only looking for 4 sponsors for that top one.
So that'll be about $140,000,
Exactly, because the reason why is that, I don't want to be greedy and get lots and lots of sponsors. I want to be able to give those sponsors value for money and really be able to demonstrate the return on investment. And so those 4 sponsors now will have that, this show is sponsored by Maggie, or this, Island Cookup is brought to you by Caribbean Airlines. So they will have that, but I can't have too many of those. So, and they also will feature so on Flow TV, similar to Sky, where you have different channels like Sky Sports, Sky One, Sky Movies, you would have indents on each of those channels. So even if you are in a household that one watches movies, one watches sports, whatever, that those ads will still, they call them indents or idents, will still flash across with the sponsor's branding. So Island Cookup, Sunday night, 8 p.m. will come on Sky Sports. So that is the arrangement we have with Flow. So we're only looking for 4 sponsors, really. And so it's not just the vehicle of the show that they will be advertised on. It's not also our platforms, but the fact that we could really utilize the Flow channels to really push the show and the sponsors.
So at this stage, we're not looking for investors from any particular location. Anybody who is interested in your project can invest. How do they get in touch with you? Have you got a website? Have you got an email address? Have you got a telephone number that they can reach out to you on?
Yes, definitely. So the best way would be email, and it's Nicole, NICHOLE.Solomon.
We'll put that on.
You put it on, right? And I have a website as well.
I've got an editing team,
Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. So so contact me by email if you want to reach out. I'll leave my your team can edit my mobile number, but the best thing would be email, because even in meetings I tend to respond to email. I think we all do, right? So that would be the best way, and we can have a conversation. And I am looking to start the editing process really quickly. So
Yeah.
hopefully by the end of March, I can be able to mobilize the team to get editing. And while we, you know, continuing to bring the sponsors in, so we don't lose traction. And I think that's what the focus is, not to lose traction on the show, as well as bringing in everyone on board.
Okay, so in terms of total money or revenue that you need, if there's one Joe Bloggs out there who just thinks Nicole's idea is brilliant, I want to be part of it. In fact, I just want to bankroll the remaining part of the production. What are we looking at in terms of totality of revenue that you need?
Totality of revenue that, I mean, if there is somebody out there that wants to bankroll the whole thing, it would be, at the juncture I am, it would be 200,000
US dollars.
US dollars.
I just wanted to get that
number. But, you know, obviously, you know, in lieu of that, I'm looking to raise, you know, the bulk of that through the sponsorship, you know, with even 4 at that top level. But the where I am is just timing, right? So it's trying to get those sponsors in, you know, there's lots of discussion, you know, it's lots of discussion with them. So it takes a little bit of time. Now, I think we will get there, but this is March, the show doesn't go to June. So in a sponsor's mind, they've got some time to, you know, to take their time. But in the background, I want to get this show going, because where the revenue for me will be, or for the show, is when I distribute it.
Exactly. So you need to push it very quickly.
Yeah. So once we've got those episodes done, you know, it's not even dependent on when Flow show it, because the arrangements that I could have with Netflix is that they can show the show, but not in these regions or not in these areas. So I could really work with the distributors to get those shows sold and get that revenue back in. So it's really about the editing right now.
Absolutely. I'm very happy about this. And for anybody who is watching out there, Change Your Money story is we're looking to help people change their money story. Whether you were born poor, if you were born poor, that was not your fault. But if you died poor, that is your fault. And we are trying to help every person who is part of this platform to be able to change their money story, and by doing so, impact on the communities they come from and also the people around. That is why Nicole's project touches my heart, and I would sincerely invite all investors to come on board, all sponsors to come on board. So Nicole, we're going to end it here. And I'm going to wish you a very, very prosperous 2022 still, and also a very good success in your business. What would you say to people who are thinking, plotting, planning about investing in this project?
Well, before I go on about that, I just want to thank you, Douglas, because obviously we have been talking since last year, and you are a very great advocate. And this, you know, this platform you've put together is amazing, and your encouragement is amazing to me as a business person, to all the entrepreneurs out there. And I love that, you know, if you die poor, it's your fault. But absolutely, you know, sometimes, yes, of course, money is very important to us all. We want to generate as much revenue as we can, because it leads on to bigger and better things. But aside from that, just your words and your encouragement is amazing. So thank you. So for any investors that are looking to come on board on this, I know it's probably not many people know about the television industry. Not many people know about broadcasting. We are consumers. We just watch content.
You're the first to educate me about it, even though I've got a concept.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. We just take it for granted, and you put on the television or you log into Netflix. But it is a business. It's a growing business. People want content. And what I've found is a market that has not been tapped into, which is the Caribbean market. It is a small market. I'm not going to sit here and say it's 40 million people. But what's unique about it is that it hasn't been shown to 30 and 40 million people. So it's really tapping into a market that hasn't been tapped into as yet in terms of real content creation. And so I would ask investors to think about that it will be the beginning of something that is unique. Now, we're not doing anything unique. We're creating content. Content is created all the time. The USP is that we're featuring the Caribbean in a way that's not been featured before.
Fantastic. This is Trailblazing Talk. I love to. I love a lot of it. If anybody is interested in, being interviewed about what they're doing, whether it's career, business, real estate, we are here to help put them on the platform and to get people to their attention.
Well,
Thanks very much, Nicole, and I shall
Thank
get everything done. And I hope our editing is better than your one. Thank you so much. You take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.